Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 3. Loke asmin dvividha nishtha pura prokta maya anagh jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. Krishna is saying to Arjun in this particular shloka that, O innocent one, as I have said earlier, there are two kinds of stability. The believers of Samkhya knowledge seek salvation through knowledge, and the yogis through karma yoga. What does that mean? It means that yogis take the path of action, and those who understand that life is an ever repeating process stemming out of your desire, they seek knowledge to know how to liberate themselves from it. Let's read the next one, and I'm going to read a few, and just bear with me here because you'll understand where I'm taking you by the end of it. Okay, so there's a flow here. Shloka 4, chapter 3, Bhagavad Gita. Na karmanam anarambhat. Na karmanam anarambhat. Naishkramya purushah ashrute. Nacha sesyanat ev siddhim samadhi gacchati. And he expands on what he's saying by saying that if a person does not start action, he does not attain actionless state. Because not starting to is an action, nor does he attain stable knowledge by keeping away from actions. It's very interesting. It's very interesting that when you look at the concept of karma, which is being explained here by Krishna, you understand that there exists a duality to the level of power and responsibility that you can claim from the universe as your own. You are within your rights to, you have all of the power to take action. And at the same time, if you do not take any action, that too is action. If you do not begin anything, there is nothing happening. So the key point here actually is intention. That don't roll through life intentionless. Right? And let's take the next one. Nobody remains without action even for a moment, because everybody is forced to act according to the moods of nature. Nahi kaschit kshanam api jatu tishtati akarmakrit karyate hi avashah karmah sarvah prakriti jay guday. You cannot stay away from doing something that has some impact on the way that the world is running, because if you are here, you are interacting with the world around you just as much as the world around you is acting with you. So you, just by virtue of being you, are causing immense ramifications in the world around you, whether you realize it or not, by choosing to act or choosing not to act, because you are never truly without action as long as there's stimuli that is causing some change within you, whether it's the change of seasons, whether it's the change in light, whether it's change in your biology. You're always acting, consuming, expelling, doing something as part of this ecosystem in which we all exist, that is causing somebody else down the line to experience something. I think this is something which is the most important concept to wrap our heads around. especially in terms of relating it with Vedic astrology, in terms of relating it with planetary time periods. I've seen a lot of people in Rahu Mahadasha, they're like, it's useless, in any case, our life is going, down the drain, and we've lost so much and we've lost control. What's the point of doing anything at all? Why don't we just leave everything and just go away? And I quite often tell them that, okay, sure, if that is what you feel like, do it. But can you do it with the full intention? Can you really commit to a way of being, even if that way of being dictates that you do not participate? Can your participation be intentional, or can your non-participation in life even come from a place of clarity? That's the question. So we move on. Act according to the scriptures, Krishna says. Gita chapter 3 verse 8. Because action is better than inaction. Also, the passage of physical existence will not be successful without action. What does that mean? What does it mean, act according to the scriptures? I mean, somebody could say that, I'm not part of this culture. Therefore, let's say, how can you tell me to act as part of your scriptures? That's not the point here. Scriptures here doesn't even mean morality, to be very honest. What scripture means over here is the expanse of spiritual tattva knowledge, tattva, the knowledge of the functioning and the nature of life. That is what the scriptures encapsulate. That's what's being said here. Act according to the scriptures, because action is better than inaction. So since you cannot refrain from acting, because even if you refrain from acting, you're still going to have to act, just as part of existing here on this planet. You're still going to have to do that. So if you cannot stop yourself from doing what you need to do it the best that you can, which is essentially what the scriptures illustrate. And I'm not making this up. I mean, this is the Bhagavad Gita, right? You can check it out for yourself. What is being said here? If you actually understand, why did Krishna say, act according to what's right or wrong, act according to morality, act according to need? Krishna could have said any of those things. Why did he say that act according to the scriptures? He's not really talking about a lot of religion here. If you say, he's not saying I'm God, just listen to me. No, he's saying act according to the scriptures, because action is better than inaction. You cannot run away from acting. You cannot run away from engaging. Just by virtue of you being who the hell you are causing ripples around you into the lives of people who are connected with you. Consciously or unconsciously, that's happening. So if you have to act according to the scriptures. The passage of physical existence will not be successful without action. What does that mean? Niyatam kuru karma tvam karma jyayah hi akarmanah sharir yatra apicha tena prasiddhyet akarmanah. The simulation of being a part of this body, this identity, this life, who you are, it is meant to serve your growth. When you choose not to act, it's like you bought the tickets to a movie, a very expensive movie. I mean, being in this universe, being here, comes with a contract. You are not at your most powerful. You could possibly be that if you were in a state of moksha, if you were in a state of nirvana, if you were in a state of union with the Almighty, but you're not. So in this low energetic state, if you exist, it is to aid your growth. And that growth cannot come without action. Conscious, intentional action. Action that you execute from the best of your ability. And that is something that I just want to highlight here today that it doesn't matter what time period of life you're going through. I know it irritates a lot of people, who are too caught up with the idea, okay, we can predict everything, and we can just tell everything and just live according to that. If that is exactly the way that you have to live life, then why the hell is Krishna going through all this trouble to tell the way to live? He's not written here that act according to what do you say, Vedic astrology alone. Act according to scriptures. Yes, Vedas, the Atharva Veda has a lot of secrets within it. Yes, but then at the same time, the Rig Veda, the Sam Veda, which is all music, right? Act according to the scriptures. Do the best that you can. Understand that you cannot escape action. And I would like to wrap up this particular episode with 2 shlokas to follow up. Pleased with yajna, the divine givers will bestow upon you all goods that you want. He who consumes the goods without offering to the givers is surely a thief. Those saints who use goods left after yajna are freed from all sins. Those who cook for only themselves are sinners eating sinful food. This is the master stroke here to wrap it up. Ishtena bhogan hivaha devaha dasyante yajna bhavitaha तैः तत्तान अप्रदाय एभ्यः यः भुङ्क्ते स्तेनः एव सः. Bhukte stena ev sah. My Sanskrit pronunciation is not, top notch, but I'm working through it as I'm sharing this with you. Okay? When you're talking about yajna, yes, this yajna could be the Vedic yajnas that we perform by offering ahutis to the gods, offering whatever we can give them. Yes. But if you actually understand what the meaning of yajna is, the meaning of yajna is to create positive energy of growth, of spiritual progress, spirituality, conscious development. Anything that you're doing with that intention is essentially yajna. Yes. One of the ways is the Vedic yajna that we do. Sure. Or what do we mean when he says that pleased with yajna, that divine will bestow upon you all the goods that you want? Right? Ishtan bhogan hivah devah dasyante yajna bhavitah. The gods will give you what you work towards, what you strive towards, what you collectively work towards, the intention that you all set together to arrive at. Gods will definitely grant you what you deserve in lieu of that, which you are making an offering to them. What does this mean? This means performing what you are to the highest of your degree and offering it to the gods with that sacred intention. I mean, in my perspective, I would say in today's times, any major innovation and the time and the effort and the sacrifices that we have to put into it to improve the world, improve, let's say, humanity. If we're doing that, and if we're sharing that, the fruits of that with the world, then we are working towards progress. But if we're doing all of that just for ourselves, if we are acting only out of our selfish interests, then that's a very low energetic way of living. Those who cook for only themselves are sinners eating sinful food. There's no actual sin here. There's no morality here. It's just simple logic. Look, if just by your existence the world around you is being influenced, if you just start thinking from that perspective once, I'm not saying start taking all the blame for all the wrong things in the world. I'm just saying, just think for a moment that just by virtue of us being here, there are things happening in the universe around us. There's a chain reaction going on. And so if somebody's unfortunate, it may well originate some way back to me. It's not my job to take care of everybody, but it's my job to share that I have been lucky, thank God, for what I've been able to get, for what I've been able to produce. Thank God I'm lucky. And I should therefore, if I have, try to do as much as I can to share. And the last shloka of the day. A person who is involved with his inner self and remains satisfied within self has no duties to perform. Interesting. So basically, if we were to just cut off ourselves from the outer world, just be involved with who we are and be satisfied with what we have, do we have no duties to perform, no work to do for the world at all? It's not about being limited in your responsibility. It's about bringing back your awareness to the essence of who you are. And when you are doing this, or when you are involved with who you are at your deepest, the spiritual energy that you possess within you, then you can slowly raise to a level of yogic development wherein you will not ultimately even have to rely on food. And there are people like that. I mean, for example, we know that Mahavatar Baba, he's one of the most famous Babajis that, almost everybody in the yogic community, and especially thanks to autobiography of a yogi, where, I mean, I read about Mahavatar Babaji first from there. And so it's interesting. I mean, I don't know, there are a lot of urban legends in the world of occult, in the world of spiritual development and yoga, but how can it be that the same kind of description is given by a lot of people, a lot of different individuals who have even reported having experiences with him? He's supposedly more than 5,000 years old. I mean, that's what they say. I don't know, a lot of different stories. There are for sure yogis in the Himalayas who are no longer dependent on any kind of feeding from the world. This is actually what yoga, what Shiva and stands for. This is actually the knowledge of Mount Kailash, of taking your body to such an advanced state of functioning that you grow many, many, many times over spiritually, bringing about a sort of slowing down of your body's systems to an extent where your life is prolonged. You need less and less from the world, and you essentially ultimately become like a completely closed system. That's a very high standard. I doubt that's a very high standard. I doubt that anybody, when you consider Krishna's advised path of yoga, when you consider the path of the scriptures, you think from this perspective that, look, this is also what is out there. This is also a level to hold yourself accountable to. If you want to have to do nothing with the world, great. Sure, nobody's pushing you to do it. You can break away from the world, but is this the ultimate stage that you can aspire towards, to work on yourself? And I'll tell you that there are a lot of places in the world. You could go to ashrams, you could just practice yoga in the Himalayas. I'm not kidding, seriously. There are a lot of things that you could do. If you do not feel that engaging with life is truly fulfilling, you can break away from it. But then the awareness that you need to bring within yourself needs to be intentional too. You cannot just drift through life being disconnected and saying that it doesn't work out for me and therefore I choose not to engage, because then you still have to engage, but you do it in a bad way. And let's just take one more. Let's just take one more for the day. Whatever the ignorant and attached people do for selfish causes, the knowledgeable does the same without attachment, only for production, storage for people in general. What does that mean? Does it mean that if you want to create something true for the world, for its people, then you just have to stop accumulating any kind of wealth, stop having a 401k, stop having investments, stop having property? What's the point here? What's actually the wisdom behind it? The idea is simple. I mean, if you look at all of these shlokas, it's so very interesting. They seem to be so much aligned with the idea of a Ketu, of the nodes in Vedic astrology, of learning where to let go and learning what to aspire towards. When you are attached with what you create, your selfish attachment with that may well keep it from its ultimate growth. Think of it from this perspective. You created a company, let's say, right? And it's time to scale this up. It's a great product. Maybe it's a portable water filter which doesn't require any energy, doesn't require, let's say, any replacement within 5 to 7 years, and it can be used across the continent of Africa by people who are starving, people who are facing droughts and all sorts of things. And you do not have the know-how to expand it beyond that point, but you're selfishly just keeping that company private, not wanting to make it public, not wanting to get more people in who could expand it, grow it. What is that? That is your selfishness preventing growth in the world. When you are knowledgeable, you understand that it's not required of you to just give away for free what you've been gifted by God. No. The idea for you is to understand that I have been lucky enough to receive this gift, receive inspiration for this, and therefore I have to allow it to grow the best it can. Maybe I can grow with it, maybe I can do my best with it, but at the end of the day, I have to do whatever I have to do by showing up, by not being attached, by not being driven by, lust, by not being driven by ulterior motives to try to control what I'm creating or keep more of it to myself. No. My job is to just show up and deliver what I can in the best way that I can, execute it as often as possible. Because I owe the world that much just by virtue of being here. Okay. On that note, I'd like to end this edition of It's Your Time to Fly. We are going to take up more shlokas from the Bhagavad Gita from time to time. And keep listening. Thank you so much. Take care. Hari Om.